speed up. Put a 1 there. All right. We're just a couple minutes away from our main man, Butch Witkowski, joining us. Hi, Tina P. You're looking lovely tonight. Michael Lestuca, you're looking lovely tonight as well. Yes, you are. The gorgeous and talented Jessica McCreary is here, everyone. So let's say a big hello to her. And Magnus Zerum, welcome to the show. Noble Patrick, thanks for joining us. And big thanks to TH and to Ed Clater for the super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show. Another great way to support if you're new, hit that thumbs up, thumbs down, do what you want. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to let us know that you are alive and well. Oh my gosh, guess what we're going to do right now, everyone? Because we're going to get this thing going in 29 seconds. There he is, the man, the myth, and the legend, all wrapped into one. Mr. Catfish, thank you so much for that super chat. And here we go, everyone. Butch, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you?
Good. We're going to launch this thing in like 10 seconds. We're going to have a lot of fun here. And there he is, people. We made it happen. Here we go. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Strange days indeed we are living in right now, and what better time to have the man, the myth, and the cryptid legend, Butch Witkowski, on for his monthly edition of Strange Days. Butch is a former cop based out of Pennsylvania who now spends his retirement chasing down monsters and legends all across North America. His website, which is also down right now, is uforcop.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Butch Witkowski, it's always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. A brand new look. If you're watching on YouTube, Periscope, or Twitch, you got us live on camera. If not, if you're on the radio side, trust me, we got faces for radio, so you're not missing much. Butch, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you?
I am great, man. I am absolutely great, and I'm pretty excited to have this new look to what we are doing here on the show here. So I want to say a big thank you for hooking up your camera and doing things with us. But I got to start off with a little bit of controversy here. I really do. So on Saturday, I was sitting at home getting ready to write my blog, as I normally do on Saturday nights, sometimes during the day. And all of a sudden, my computer flickered because I was searching Facebook. And it logged me out, and all of a sudden, the login screen was there. And I was like, okay, this is weird. So I quickly go and check out my login, and I can't get back in. And literally, Facebook is telling me that I have been banned. Banned. And I'm like, what did I do? Because I don't put anything controversial on my site. I don't do all of that. I stay away from like real ugly conspiracies, even though we could get tied into one. And I also really refuse to really get into some of the nastiness on our channel. I just refuse to. And yet I got taken down. My profile, I can't even appeal it. Cannot even appeal it. The message that came up with from Facebook was literally, "You're done. Bye. You can't do it. I've been booted out." I haven't been booted out of anything since brawling in the bar back when I was 20 years old. And so it didn't only affect me. It eliminated our Spaced Out Radio page, our SOR Newswire page. It blanked out our news director's Captain Shirk's Facebook, and it blanked out Michael W. Hall's Facebook page as well. So here we all are trying to figure out what we did, can't find anything, and now I don't know what to do because there's no appeals process, and it's terrible. Terrible. You know, and man, I'll tell you, that's 12,000 followers we lost. 12,000. Doesn't sound like much compared to a lot of other places. And I don't know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist that much where I'm going to say that, you know, someone was out to get us, it was the government or something like that. I'm not going to say anything like that, okay? But I am going to say this. I think it was the algorithms. I think it was something that was not very cool. And the way Facebook is set up, they don't have an appeals process. I didn't get an email. I've never gotten a warning from Facebook for things that I have posted. And it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Butch, and your website got hacked.
Yep. Yeah, about a month ago, I went online to change something on the website, and it was gone.
No kidding.
It's gone. Yeah. Had it for 9 years and gone. Now we're starting another one up, but I have no idea. I tried to back search, you know, what could have happened, might have happened, but I got nowhere.
What do you think happened? Did you get hacked?
Oh, yeah. Definitely it was a hack. Yeah. Because they couldn't touch the blog. The blog is still there. But the website itself, euphoricop.com, is gone.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, these people don't understand how much it affects what we do. You know?
That's true, yes.
You know, but anyways, let's move on from all the bad stuff. Let's get to you tonight because this is your show and we love bringing you on once a month. I'm going to get you to turn your speaker down just a little bit if you don't mind, Butch. I would appreciate that. And I'm just curious, you know, because we always get new listeners every time you're on here, my friend, and you know, we got to keep reintroducing you. You know, you're supposed to be in retirement here. You know, after a number of years of a couple of careers that you had. And I'm just wondering, my friend, you know, why the hell do you spend your retirement chasing monsters?
Something to do, number one. Number two, I'm looking for the truth. I always was. So getting too old to change now. You know, it's just something I got to know. I got to know what's out there. And recently, I mean, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe last time I was on the show, nothing was happening. We weren't getting anything. Last 2 weeks, to the moon. UFOs, bipedal canines, pale, whatever they call them, walkers, and it just nuts.
What do you think?
Which is cool.
What do you think causes a spike like that?
You know, I tried to do a couple things with that. I tried to look like, well, maybe it was the time of year or the weather. You know, I tried to bring some kind of correlation between the sightings and no sightings. No, it not bipedals. This is about the time of the year we're going to start getting the reports. And what's neat about the three that I got this week, they're all within a very specific area. They're like in... it would be northern Montgomery County. It would be eastern Chester County, southern Berks County, and in that area is a very, very large state park, French Creek State Park. And the reports just surround it. Now, when I go back to last year at this time, I had reports of bipedal canines in that area of French Creek State Park and a couple surrounding areas which are very close to the park. So, of course, now we got the putting a target on the park. But yeah, like a few weeks ago, there was nothing. Now, UFOs in the sky, lots of them. These pale walking creatures in the woods, I don't even have a name for that yet. I don't even know what they are. But it's people are seeing something tall, very, very thin, very skinny, very malnourished looking, pure white, snow white, walking through the woods, and then they just kind of walk off and disappear. Now, I have no idea. I don't know what they are, but it's always something. I mean, it's always something. Nationwide, UFO sightings are at a peak. In your area, Bigfoot reports are peaking. In Oregon and Washington State also. And they're good reports. I mean, these are not just people out for a hike or something like that. These are researchers that were out looking for whatever they were looking for. And we've gotten some photographs. They're kind of squirrely, to say the least. And we don't know what's going to happen this week because tonight we have a supermoon. So if I walk outside right now, it's like daylight. That's how bright the moon is. So it's just been real busy, just, the last couple of weeks. And, I wasn't really expecting, but maybe, one or two oddball reports. But these were genuine. These were, boom, 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 one after the other. And that's when you really know there's something going on, especially if they're in a confined area. And although that state park is extremely large, and it's one of the darkest spots in the United States, there's three, and French Creek is one of them, which means there is absolutely no light pollution there. So when you're walking down through there at night, the chances are you're going to break your nose on a tree before you find the road. So it's getting busy now. It's getting busy.
For you, I mean, over the last year with COVID and everything, you've seen a little bit of a slowdown, but you think people are now just kind of taking things and kind of running with it and saying, okay, this is life. We got to adjust. We still want to go out and enjoy nature. And what the hell is that up in the sky? Or do you think that the media hype around UFOs lately is really what's causing it?
I don't think the media hype took off like whoever wanted it to take off wanted it to take off. Some of the photographs that they're showing now and some of the stories of, being over top of ships and coming out of the water. And I mean, these reports have been going on for years and years and years. And then, of course, you have the group that discerns that, we're going to have all this wide open. The government's going to tell us everything we need to know. And they're going to admit to everything and where they keep them and this, that, and the other thing. Well, that's a lot of crock. That ain't going to happen. Something happens where information gets leaked, and then all of a sudden it becomes a big deal. So to cover their butts, they start putting out a few things here and a few things there, a little slip of the tongue here, a little slip of the tongue there, and before you know it, you're into a full-blown Passover of every UFO in the cosmos. But look, anybody with half a brain knows there are things up there we have no idea what they are. We don't know who's flying them. We don't know if there's anybody even flying them at all. So it's a matter of you make what it is. I mean, we can't say what they are. we can't deny that they're there. They are there. I mean, that's a fact. So I'm after this supermoon tonight. I'm expecting UFO calls tomorrow morning. Absolutely, because everybody's looking up.
So with all the hype that's going on right now with UFOs, and there's a lot of it right now. Let's just be honest. Okay, do you think that people know what to look at up in the sky, Butch?
Yeah, I do. When you see something that goes, from one side of the spectrum to the other, here to there in a matter of a second or two, and it's a bright moving light and it's zigzagging and it's doing all kind of stuff that airplanes can't do, or it stops and goes straight up, or it changes color, or there are multis where you have not only one, you might have two, you might have 10. People know that that's not ours. We don't have anything like that. We don't have anything that can fly that fast. I mean, the fastest recorded UFO, I believe, was 14,200 miles per hour. It could circle the Earth in a couple hours. So we don't have anything like that. If we did, one of the airlines would have it, and they'd be charging you a fortune to fly. But it's different now. Back then you could probably sell anybody on UFOs. Just tell them a story and they get all happy. Not so much anymore. Now they really want to look. They want proof. And a lot of these investigators are younger. They're smarter. They know how to use a computer. They know how to use the equipment to see what's up in the sky. And I just ordered a new telescope, and I was talking to the guy at the place where I bought it, and I said, "How are sales?" And he said, "In the last year and a half, 2 years, through the roof." He said, "I can't stock enough scopes." So I said, "Well, is there any type of individual buying the older folks, younger folks? What kind of people we looking at? Nerds?" He said, "No." He said, "There are some researchers. There are some guys who have been doing it since they were kids. But," he said, "on the whole," he said, "they're just people that saw something. Now they really want to see it." So, and these things aren't cheap. It's not like you can probably buy one for a couple $100, but if you want something good, you're going to be spending over $1,000. And now these things are set up like the old ones. You had to have a star map and do this and do that to point it in the right direction. Now it's all electronic. They have a program in. You have a controller. You can sit in your house and Wi-Fi it to or Bluetooth it to your computer and push a button, and you can move it to a star system. You can move it to look at the moon, the sun, Mars. It's really getting crazy. But it says one thing to me, that there's a lot more interest out there than people make out to be. I mean, I'm sure that not everybody's going to say, "Yeah, I'm a UFO nut," but there are a lot of people out there doing it. Star watches used to be a big deal, where groups would put on a star watch. You'd have maybe 20, 30 people, gather at a certain place. Not anymore. These people are setting them up in their yards. Now you can buy a portable observatory on a trailer. So, I mean, they're doing it on their own, which I think is really super neat.
Butch Witkowski in Strange Days continues here on Spaced Out Radio. Butch, we got about 5 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. When you take a UFO report, what are you looking for to make sure that it's not a satellite, the ISS, or anything else that's maybe natural phenomena?
Location and weather are the biggest things. You can get a great story on a UFO report, and then they give you the time, the date. They give you all the information you need to backtrack a little bit. So when somebody says they were watching this thing, 1,500, 2,000 feet in the air, and it was this, it was that, and then you punch up the weather in that exact location for that day, and you see that the cloud cover was pretty much at 10,000 feet. They weren't seeing anything. Multi-witness. I love multi-witness because When the same person at this end of the block says the same thing that the guy 2 blocks away saw, there was something there. And it's weather is important, of course, because it tells us what the sky was like if they had visibility, and location. When people start saying they see stuff over a nuclear plant, that's very common. That's a very common sighting. Matter of fact, on my website, my old website, I'll put it on a new site, but I have pictures where a series of 3 UFOs were over a nuclear site. That whoever took the picture was back a little bit from the sighting. You can see the objects, you can see the stacks from the nuclear plant, and you can see all these cars alongside off the road, everybody out either looking like this or they got a camera, and that's common. Why? I have no idea.
I don't know either, man. I don't know either. So, I mean, the big thing...
If they land and tell us.
Right.
If they would just land and share the information, we'd be a lot better off.
Very true. Very true. But, sticking with the public here for a second, because, you deal in a lot of public sightings on a daily basis. And when you're dealing with the public who sees something up in the sky that they can't explain, how many of them can really recognize an airplane from a 747 down to a Cessna? How many can recognize the International Space Station? Or even a meteor shower?
Not many. Not many at all. The ones that can recognize when the ISS passes in front of the moon and you get this great shot. It's indistinguishable what it is. Meteor showers are usually advertised many days ahead of time, so people are looking. But if you wanted to say, can a person tell a meteor from a bolide and a bolide from a shooting star? Probably not, because they're all different. Or ball lightning. No, they can't. Most people have seen ball lightning. If you ask them if they've ever seen ball lightning, they'll look at you and go like, no, never. But they did eventually. Everybody sees it eventually. So you have, it depends on the knowledge of the person. If they have a slight interest in UFO study or something like that, not so much. But if it's somebody that's, like there's quite a few out there that they're really not researchers and they're not investigators, but they read a lot, they watch a lot. They watch a lot of media stuff where, they'll have the old sightings and the old stories from Roswell on up. But yeah, I think there are people that can tell the difference, but I think there's just as many people that can't tell the difference. Now, like I said, when you see something that shoots from horizon to horizon in a matter of a couple seconds, and it's doing all kind of aerobatics that a plane could never do, or they stop and turn color and shoot straight up, or they change shape, that ain't ours.
Can you really tell? Can you really tell?
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can.
Wow.
Because if you had something going 10,000 miles an hour and it stopped and there were people inside, when you'd open the door, if it landed and you'd open the door, you'd pick them up with a sponge.
All right. Well, I mean, as we got about 40 seconds to go here, what's the best advice you can give for someone to in case they see something? What's your best advice on how to tell if it's a UFO or not?
Get all the information they can. Weather, what it looked like, approximate, how high it was, what it looked like in size to them, color, shape. Did they see wings on it? Did they see a tail section, ailerons, anything like that? Did they see heat disbursement from engines or anything? Anything that they can think of.
Right.
And then get a hold of me.
All right. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens all the time, once a month here near the end of each month on Spaced Out Radio. When we come back, I want to get Butch's opinion about armchair researchers. Are they good for the field? Are they hurting the credibility? Let's see if we can fire Big Bad Butch up when we come back on Spaced Out Radio. All right, my friend, we're clear.
Is it working out okay?
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, I'm a little new. I'm a little late on things, but that's okay.
It's certainly different.
Look at Fap's comment. Dave looks like a pinhead. Too many salads. Thanks, Fap. Much love to you. And your size 9 head. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I don't like about this is that this system is that it's a little too the chat area in here is a little too weird. So I'm trying though. It is a fun system. I can make us big. Ooh, I like that angle better.
Yeah. The other one scares me.
I can go like that, make me bigger. I don't know what that one does. What does that one do? Well, that brings us back to there. Okay. Yeah. Looks good, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah. Everybody in the YouTube chat, if I accidentally miss you, please don't take offense. I'm just getting used to this new thing. We just installed it, this StreamYard yesterday. I think so far it looks good.
Yeah, the chat's a little loggy.
If you go to the YouTube side, you can check it out.
I ain't doing anything. If I touch it, it's probably going to go off.
Yeah, probably. Probably. You're that guy.
Yep.
That's okay, though. We still love you. We still love you. All right. Want to say a big thank you to Ed Clater, TH, Dirty Filth, Science Bob, Aiden, Catfish Times 2, VXPN, Aiden again, and Dirt Road for those awesome super chats. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for the love. We got a couple minutes here left. Yeah, I like this new format.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. See, if we really want to go cool, we can go there. What does that one do? I don't know what that one does. I don't know. I'm just playing around. Oh, Nicole Sackich with a $5 super chat. Look at that. She's like, I'll get involved because even though I'm just a cook, I'll get involved. I'm kidding, Nicole. I'm kidding. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Wow. Robin Ward, thank you for the super chat and the super sticker. And VPXM, thank you. Again, man, that's way too kind. What is VPXM? I'm curious. I know you're Canadian. Oh, Sylvia and James Delaney. Thank you for the super chat. Wow. Way too kind. All right. We got about 90 seconds here. Oh, by the way, welcome to our chat room. Miss Pickles, good to see you. And who else is new in here? Yeah, D. Swiger. Good to see you. think I'm just going to read them out. It's easier. Holy cow. Wendy, my goodness, people. Magnolia, thank you so much. Look at that. Wendy says, love all you guys. You too, not grumpy Butch. Thank you, Magnolia. Appreciate that. All right, we're about 15 seconds away. Thank you to everybody who's in the super chat. Thank you to all of our listeners, all the veterans tuning in. And we're going to get things going here with the second half hour. If you're new here, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with the man, the myth, and the legend, Butch Witkowski. Strange Days happens here the last week of every month, close to the first of the month. Butch, welcome back.
Pleasure to be back.
Glad to have you here. My friend, there is a lot, and I'm saying a lot, of armchair researchers out there. People who just want to rip people for no reason, man. And I'm telling you, I think it's hurting this field because there's a lot of good work going on with a lot of possibilities. I always, laugh and say, that you're a cranky guy, and I make fun of it a little bit. But it must really grind your gears, my friend, when you see a bunch of these people questioning your research, other people's research, when they haven't even looked into it themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. To say the least. When they start putting stuff out, not on any researcher, it's worth their salt. And, they have, almost have a vendetta to prove that they're a much better researcher than the person that's actually out there doing it. But if they lost their internet connection, that would be the end of their research. I've never bumped into any of these folks in the field ever in all these years. I've never seen them at conferences in all these years ever. Never had any contact with any of them. Neither have any of the researchers I know. There's one outfit that I think it's two gentlemen. They actually have a program to disguise their voice. So nobody recognizes who they are, and they really just start tearing people up in the Texas area.
Really?
But
yeah. Okay. I thought it was another Texas person who does that, but that's okay.
But it's nonsense, and it. I guess after a while I've gotten used to it. I don't pay any attention anymore. At first, that used to light me right up. Boy, I'd be looking for them on the internet, be trying to get a hold of them, sending them emails, threatening to kidnap their dogs and everything else. But it's a shame that they don't put that type of work into looking for the truth or trying to get an answer. They just don't do that. It's a whole lot easier to get onto the internet and whatever genre they're using on the internet and just blow smoke up everybody's butt. And what it's always amazed me is the following that some of them have. You look at the numbers, you go like, this guy has 300 people listening to him every week. What are they, crazy? What kind of drugs are they on? It's just nuts. I mean, why would you want to just, that'd be like me telling you that I found Bigfoot. I've got pictures of the bipedal canine, and that if you send me $50, I'll send you a copy of the picture. Like a lot of them do that too. It's a scam, and they just don't get it. Like they think that we're dumb, like we can't figure out what they're talking about. Well, I got news for those guys. They can send me any picture they want to, and I'll debunk that sucker in less than 10 minutes. And we deal with scientists. We deal with real professionals, not just here in Pennsylvania, but Puerto Rico, Europe, Poland, Germany, Sweden. I mean, these people, they got more numbers and letters behind their name than I got letters in my name, and they know what they're talking about, and they see it right away. We see it right away. Everybody sees it right away, and even though these people get called out probably hundreds of times a week, they keep at it. They just keep at it. Or one of their favorite things to do is like, they'll listen to a show, whether it's your show or Phantoms and Monsters or whoever. They'll listen to a show. They'll save that show, and then what they'll do is they'll get into that show, and then they start changing things. They'll change the location, maybe the year, the date, the time, change what the creature looked like or how it was described. They'll throw in all kind of witnesses that don't exist, and then they throw it out, and a lot of people eat it up. But I and many others have always said the same thing. If you question a report or you think it's a snowball, send it to us. We'll check it out for you, and we'll give you the answer, and we'll also send a copy of the answer to the person that sent it to you to begin with.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Now, Butch, I'm getting a little bit of feedback on your speaker again.
Okay.
Don't know
let
why.
me try this again.
Yeah.
How's that?
Much better.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not. Weird. Let me move my microphone back here. All right, there we go. We seem to have that all cleaned up. And Butch, with a lot of these armchair researchers, with UFOs, we hear things like bokeh, where it's the blurring of the filters. We hear a lot of people, I saw someone griping about Grant Cameron's work recently, and I don't get it. I don't understand why we always want to eat our own when there's serious people out there who are doing some major research trying to make everything, work for us, to get the information out there. I mean, does it need to be this cutthroat?
No, but you got to understand that the people that are doing that, they have no knowledge or expertise in what somebody else is doing. Like Grant Cameron, he's a great researcher, great investigator. He really is a good guy. And for somebody to say something against him, I'd like to challenge that person to say, okay, show me what you've done over all these years. And it's not so much that researchers write books. They all write books. There are good books. There are bad books. There are books that are outright lies from page 1 to page 215. And then there are books that might be a little hard to discern or put together in your head, because you really have to know what that researcher's looking for. If he's a Bigfoot guy, or if he's a UFO guy, or if he's undersea UFOs or anything like that. But it's jealousy. It's wannabes. I don't know how else to put it without swearing. But be that as it may, these people always get caught. Always. They always get caught. If I would have to make a list of the radio shows that I knew about or shows that were on the internet years ago, they're all gone. They're just gone. Because there's people like me, there's people like you, there's people like the SOAR people. They ask questions and they want answers. They don't want to be snowballed, and they don't want to be, some, let alone sit in the street corner trying to figure out what's going on. They want an answer, so they deserve an answer. Excuse me. If it's a report that's negligible, it's worth looking into, I and many others will take it on. No question about it. I've never turned down a report, good, bad, or indifferent. And here's another way you can tell those guys from the researchers. If you get a hold of them and you say, well, I have some questions, and you give them some questions on what the bipedal actually looks like, where have they been seen, what do they eat, okay, just throw a whole bunch of questions at them. I will guarantee you will get an answer on every question. And that person has never left their den in probably the last 10 years. So you want an answer?
But these are also people, too, that are, getting the conference calls, a lot of them, or missing out on the conference calls because they don't get the opportunity to get out in the field. They're more interested in ripping people new ones than they are about, trying to build the credibility or take the research for what it's worth. I realize, let's get back to Grant Cameron here for a second. I realize that, for a lot of people, they don't get him. You have to meet Grant to understand how,
exactly.
This is the best way I can explain Grant. When you go down the rabbit hole, you come to one door. You open that door, there's 10 more doors in behind that door. And then each one of those doors that you open, of those initial 10, have another 10 behind each door. And Grant continues down that opening doors until he can't go any further, and then he makes his way back and starts down a new door. And I don't see anything wrong with things like that, because that's the fun of being weird, man.
Yeah. Well, it's like, when you try to sit there and figure out what their object is, what they try to obtain with all their nonsense, it boils down to one thing: fortune and glory. They want to see their name on television. They want to see their name on a radio. They want to hear themselves on a radio show. They want to see their name in a book. They want some kind of credibility, but they want credibility for doing absolutely nothing. And that's the part that just kind of fires us all up, because, like I said, I've never bumped into these people in the woods, and some of them live right here in Pennsylvania. I mean, I've researched in the same areas they're saying they researched thoroughly. And as a matter of fact, the one guy pretty much called a liar on the internet. I shouldn't have done that, I guess, but I did. Where, he said he was in a certain spot at a certain time and saw certain things. And he put that out on his little web page. Unfortunately for him, me and my team were in that location for 4 days, and he never put that together. Because I said, well, I started questioning him online. I said, well, where were you on the mountain? Were you at the top of the mountain up by the Cherokee campsite, or were you down the mountain, at the Apache campsite? Which campsite were you at? Well, he didn't have a clue. He didn't even know that they had names. And I said, well, then you were on the South Mountain Road. Yep, that's where I was, South Mountain Road. Yep, South Mountain Road. There is no South Mountain Road. So, just egging him on. He was agreeing to everything like he was there, but everything I was feeding him was... So I was lying. And then when he found out what happened, he switched his web page to something else. I forget what it's called now. But they always get caught. They always get caught. The only ones I don't really hear a lot about that from are the paranormal people. They don't seem to bother with each other, period. one group don't know what the other group's doing. They could care less. But ufology, cryptozoology, man, it's rampant. I guess it's more exciting.
Well, I mean, you've been in your own world. You've had your own criticism. I mean,
Sure.
I've heard the stories where people were saying you were a fake cop. I've heard
Oh,
the
yeah.
stories of people saying that that you screwed MUFON. I've heard lots of stories,
Sure.
and yet how many of those people have ever come to you, Butch, and asked you point blank? The people on the internet.
Zero. Zero. And it's funny. It all started over one thing. It wasn't a series of things. It was one thing. And that was when I started researching human mutilations. I was warned. I was told. I kind of laughed it off. And after I gave 2 conferences on it, I became fair game. So, just let them go, let them do their thing. And when they think they had it all good and happy, then I posted pictures of me in uniform, newspaper clippings.
I remember when I asked you about that, I'm like, Butch, I had somebody contact me. This is about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I had somebody contact me, and then you messaged me back a local newspaper article of you and your fellow deputies in a photo right in the front page of the newspaper, and you're like, does this answer your question? It was good enough for me. It was good enough. It was right there. So the point that I bring that up, and I know that's a sore spot for you, and I have sore spots for me as well in this field, but I want our audience to know that there are a lot of people out here who are not doing the research, who are just basically finding it their own job to be critical about everyone. Sometimes those criticisms are very well warranted, but for the most part, are they?
Well, it's just like it's just crazy the way they think. There's some people you could tell them everything in the world. That's a fact. And one local researcher in Lancaster County said that I had been arrested for impersonating a police officer. Yeah, I did. And this was just a few years ago. And I sent him an email. I said, "Are you out of your mind?" I said, "Do you realize that if you impersonate a police officer, you're going to be arrested? Or if you say you're a cop and you're not, or you were and you weren't, you can't do that. That's against the law." I want to show you something here in a second.
Sure. As he pulls something off his wall there. What are you pulling off for us? That's you and a police dog. Nice photo you got there.
Yes, sir.
And it looks and that looks like one hell of a mustache too.
That's me and my boy.
Very nice.
That's Genghis Khan. And he was mean as a snake. Except when he was with me, he was a pussy.
Ah,
but I've always let that stuff run off the back of my neck. I mean, it didn't never stop me from doing anything, and it kind of made a lot of people look foolish. And a matter of fact, 3 groups in Pennsylvania that really came after me strong, really big time. They're no longer around. They're gone. They're gone. They don't exist. They're adios. Eventually, they get called out, And, it's just like, I've got hundreds of pictures. So you're going to say, that's not me? Yeah, that's me.
Oh, you look good.
Yeah, I was thinner. A lot thinner.
I got to ask you, because people all want to hear stories too. We could gripe and we could critique everything that's kind of going on here in regards to the way people armchair quarterback all of the information that is coming out. for those who are listening, and we'll get to some stories here coming up in a little bit, how do they decipher who's telling the truth and who's pulling the wool over their eyes?
Well, they're going to have to believe the person that's telling them the good and the bad. Like, yes, this could have happened. Did it happen? I doubt it. And then give them the reasons why. You know, if the location was wrong, or it was actually the bright light they saw was a camera flash off of a garage window, and you show it to them and you give them a copy of, put a copy attached to it and say, like, here's what happened. Or they were in a house and they said, well, there were shiny objects near the door. Well, then you take a good picture of the door, and it's got a brass doorknob, and it's got a brass handle, and it's got a brass lock, and that was a reflection of the light. So once you say something, you got to be able to prove what you say. You just can't. I mean, even if I wanted to, I can't just go on and debunk something without looking into it myself, because I could be wrong, and then I'm really going to look bad. So it's I need to look at it. I need to see the evidence, whether it's photographs or hair or whatever. I need to see that. I don't need a picture of it. I need it here, so I can take it back in the library, in the lab, and work on it, or send it out and have it tested. But we're getting into this new environmental DNA now, and can't wait to try that. So that's really cool to me. But you just got to be honest. That's the bottom line. You can't snowball either the reportee or the investigator. You just can't do that, because you will get caught. And once you're caught, your credibility just went right out the window and down the toilet, and then you're done. So even if you do have, a picture of you and a gray sitting at the supper table having a hamburger, ain't nobody in the world going to believe you, even if it's a fact. It's just not going to happen. So credibility is whatever the investigator and researcher make it.
But isn't it also the purpose that if you're going to be public about your research, that you should be able to prove it every now and again?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. You have to. The one that always sticks in my mind, and this was really early on in my research, and I had just started working with photographs. I might have been at it maybe a year. And I got a picture of a triangle, and typical triangle, 3 lights, 2 at the back, 1 at the front. And the story was it was taken at night, but it was awful close. You know what I mean? It could have been more than 1,500 feet at the most. So I started watching the program, and like I said, I was just starting, so there were a lot of mistakes, but then I finally got the hang of it, and I could do what I wanted to do, which was take the pixelization and take it apart. So once I did that, then I kind of saw what was coming forward, and I actually had to call somebody to come over and help me because I was at the point where I'm done, and they came over. We worked on it for about an hour and a half, and what it turned out to be was somebody took a picture at an airport, probably, of a Cessna 172 taking off, kind of like on this angle. They photographed it. They turned that photograph upside down, blocked out everything but the collision lights, turned those to all white, from the red, green, white to all white, blocked out all the shadows in the background to black, so there were no stars in the sky or anything like that. Now, here's where the research for the investigation came in. When we looked at the date and the time and had all that information, the exact location where this happened, it was a starry night. Well, in this picture, the background is completely black. And you could see a faint outline, so we kept enhancing the outline to about 400%. And pretty soon I was reading the tail number off of that plane.
Wow.
And I got a call on that report, that especially that report. I got a call from Bob Bigelow and one of his investigators, which shocked me. I'm thinking, how'd these guys get my number?
No kidding.
I said, how'd these guys get my number, right? And he asked me flat out. He asked me how I took the triangle.
Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Hour number 2 of Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, buddy. We're going to take a break here. I'll be right back, okay?
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Okay. Let's see here. Where are we? Thank you to everybody who has super chatted tonight. Ed Clador, TH, Filth, Science Bob, Aiden a few times, Catfish twice, Dirt Road a couple of times. Nicole, Robin, VPXM times 2. And Sylvia and James, Wendy, Magnolia, Jeff, Jules, Emily, Aiden again, Dirt Road again, and Wagon Breath. Really appreciate the love and support, guys. Wow. I'm going to assume you're liking this new look.
I like it.
Yeah, that's a nice goatee you got going on there. A little coffee stain on the chin. That's looking nice.
It's always been brown. It'll never change.
Jeez, I think it's a coffee stain, personally.
I really don't drink that much coffee anymore.
Mm-hmm. Hey, everybody in the chat room. Merle is here. Merle. Make sure you give Merle a Merle, if you don't mind. He likes it. Fast Hemi, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Wow, guys, you're awesome. All right, we got about 30 seconds here. Great way to support what we do is through the super chat. John Janik, welcome. Yeah, that's right, people. Merle it up. Hit that subscribe button. We're also broadcasting for the first time on Twitch and on Periscope, so make sure you check it on out there as well. And here we go, guys, with hour number 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? You got Idioglossia. Idioglossia is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Butch Witkowski's Strange Days. It happens near the end of each month, where we bring on Big Bad Butch to talk about everything that is going on in the weird, wacky world of the crypto paranormal world. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
All right. You've had a few Dogman encounters recently.
Yes.
Let's hear about them.
The first one we got, and these were all within the last week. The first one was a lady and her lady friend, were driving back from visiting another friend that they don't see quite often. As they were coming up Route 422, they saw something that they said it looked like it was kneeling on all fours, but they could see like kneeling, like the leg was bent back. And it was still pretty far away from them, but they could make it out, and they thought actually it was a dog. And then as they got closer, the lady hit the high beams, and when she hit the high beams, it stood up. And she basically described everything that we've been looking for. She said it was very tall. She said she's not really good at that, but she said between 7 and 8 feet, only because her boyfriend's 6 foot. She was very muscular. It was a large wolf. No tail, and very muscular, and it bounded across 4 lanes of highway in a few seconds. That was the first one. The second one was that was a gentleman driving home from work, and depending on the traffic, he goes one way or the other. He either goes the back roads or he goes the main highway. Well, traffic was pretty bad, so he went the back road. And this is the second report in a year that we've had in that area, where it's kind of a windy road, but not really curvy. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like waves back and forth, and it goes up and down. It's kind of a hilly back road. And as he came around the corner, there stood a bipedal canine right in the middle of the road looking at him. So he hit the brakes, put it in reverse, started backing up, and it looked like it was making like a couple steps toward them. But actually, when he thought about it, he said actually it was going backwards. It was stepping backwards. And then he said it just leapt right out of the center of the road and over into the bush. And he said, I never seen anything move that quick or jump that far. And again, that is in that same area where we had reports last year. So what's creeping around down in that area, we have no idea, but it's now number one on our hit list. So we'll be down there shortly. We had notified a couple of law enforcement that work with us down in that area to keep their eyes out and, see if they come up with anything. But the one thing that just keeps me so involved in this, Dave, is that every report that we've gotten, not one or two, but every report we've gotten, the description is exactly the same, no different. High build, glowing yellow eyes, everything the same. Nothing has ever changed. In other words, I never got one where it said, well, it was about 4'2", no. And it kind of looked like a Cocker Spaniel. No, never got anything like that. And that's why I continue to differentiate from Dogman to a bipedal canine, because Dogman, there are so many reports on Dogman, and they've been seen on all fours. They've been seen with long bushy tails, multicolored coats, floppy ears. I mean, they're describing a dog. It's probably a feral dog. But ours have never been different. They've always been exactly the same. And that's the part that just keeps me involved in that. Because if they were different, like if they start showing up with tails and instead of being, a real dark brown or black coat, now they're showing up with a white chest and, they're a dapple, or, they got a white face and floppy ears, and they got a big bushy tail, and they got paws instead of hands. It's a different story. But ours are never changed. They have never changed, ever. Not one report out of 65 reports never changed.
This bipedal canine, for people who don't understand, how does it differ from Dogman? Mainly
the way it looks, the size of, most Dogman reports say if it stands up on its hind legs, it's about 4 foot, 5 foot tall. We've never had anything like that. They're always like 7, 8, 10 foot. They have a dog looking face, long snout, floppy ears and stuff like that. Ours are always a wolf-like head, sharp pointed ears, glowing yellow eyes, massive chest, standing upright. We've never had a report of any on all fours, ever. Now, we had reports of 2 animal sightings, and I think I discussed this one on the last show, where a guy was up in a tree stand, and one was chasing a deer, and the other one came up below him, and he was downwind, so it kind of creeped up on him. Now, he said that did walk on all fours, but it was had a hump on its back, and that's when he said kind of looked like a Great Dane with a longer snout. Well, it could have been any other type of dog. There are a lot of big dogs out there. And when he reported to the Game Commission, which was right down the road, they said, well, they had reports of a couple stray dogs chasing down deer. So I'm not saying what he saw was not what he saw, But I'm just saying it's a good chance it probably is 2 feral dogs, because we've never had any reports in that area whatsoever. And the other thing that's very strange about our investigation is we have no sightings that came to us that are outside of our research area, our Lichen Loop. The only one, now there have been reports in Texas and Oklahoma of the same type of being, but they chalk them all off there to skinwalkers. So I'm not saying that what we're looking for is a skinwalker. I'm not saying it's not a skinwalker. I'm not saying it's not a protector or a watcher, because, the Indians say that those watchers and protectors stay over the encampments and battle areas where there are dead indigenous. So we don't know. But we have not found prints. We found impressions, but never any prints.
What's the difference between a print and an impression?
A print, you could pretty much see a print and say like soft ground, where an impression would be just grass or something mushed down from weight, but not giving you a defined outline of the print itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think this creature is hiding?
To be honest, I don't think it hides. I just think it's there. It's been there for a long, long time. I mean, like I said before, I found that report from mid 1800s, where a farmer takes a shot at one on his land that was going after his goats or sheep. I don't even remember that, but he makes a report to the constable in town, because they didn't have cops back then. They were all constables or sheriffs, and they print it in the newspaper. I think it was the Erie New Era or something like that. They printed in the newspaper the description, and if I take that description and put it up against the one I got the other day, they're identical. So it's not like this thing just popped up in Pennsylvania overnight. This thing has been around for a long time. And there are other reports like that, especially with Bigfoot, where there have been many sightings in a certain confined area, and the description is always the same. And I'm going to use one of those reports as kind of an indicator. The very first report in that particular area, it was in Oregon, said that it looked like the skin was missing from the left shoulder, like a wound had healed, but the hair never grew back. And that thing's been seen for over 50 years. That description has come out over 50 years, numerous times, of sighting of a Bigfoot with what looks like a bare spot on the shoulder. And we don't know how long they live. We don't have any idea. It's just, I have no, it's just crazy. And then when you go down, if you go down south, like Louisiana, you deal with the Rougarou. Now, the Rougarou, that story came from France when the French moved into Louisiana, with the war and all that stuff. But the Rougarou, although it's close to the description, but it's more werewolf, because they're seen with, they might be wearing a shirt, old torn up, ripped up shirt or a pair of pants or something like that. So that takes you back to the werewolf theory from England and France back in those days, when it was a big deal. Werewolves were a big deal. This is not like that. And I can't find, or have not found, any injuries or reports of any injuries caused by these creatures. Where werewolves, there's all kind of reports of bodies being found all ripped to shreds in the deep south. The school teacher, I keep bringing her up because they still haven't found out what tore her up. They have no idea. No DNA matches anything that we know of at this point. So you have these reports that are long-standing, have been around for a long, long time. And the only thing that really keeps me glued to this is that ours have not changed. Now, if I would get a report where they said, well, it was 5'2" and it had glowing blue eyes and it had blonde hair and it had a goatee and, one earring, and, that is a different story. But the reports that we have, they're all identical. Every one of them. Every one. You show people a sketch, because we had a sketch made way back, and you show it to them and they go like, yeah, that's it. Nothing different? Nope. This is exactly what you saw? Yep. So, can't stand there and call them a liar. I mean, they saw what they saw. And the thing that always kind of bugged us all was that when these things were encountered with folks that had guns, everybody had the same thought go through their head. If I pull this trigger, it's going to get real bad real quick, and I'm not going to survive. And they'll either put the gun down or they'll back their way out. In the one case, there were like 4 guys, all with high-powered rifles, all had the same thought at the same time.
That's weird.
And then, they just backed their way out with their guns pointed behind them and headed for their truck and got out of Dodge. And they've not been back since. I talked to that gentleman about 2 months ago. If he's seen or heard or anybody said anything about it, he said, nope. He said, we haven't been back. We're not going back. He said, there's something evil in there and guns aren't going to stop it. And I went like, okay.
How do you take someone at their word for that?
You can hear it in their voice. I mean, here's a guy that was a combat pilot in Vietnam War, a pilot, commercial pilot, private pilot, lived and hunted in that area all his life, and was doing something he did every day for many, many years, which was taking his dogs for a walk until that day. And he said another thing that just seemed to bother him, not so much in the beginning, but it as we talked over time, he kept saying, that thing walked out of the woods. My dogs are going bananas. They want to rip it apart. He said, I'm doing all I can to hold on to them. They're actually digging holes trying to get away to get to this thing. He said, and it just walks across like we didn't even exist. It walked out one side of the woods, across the trail, and into the other side. It never looked at us. He said it never even acknowledged that we were there, or the dogs. He said, what would you do if 2 dogs were chomping at the bit to get to you? I said, I'd be up a tree real fast. And he says, it never phased, it never looked at us, never phased it at all. And he said, that bugs him because this is his theory now. He said, I don't think it's from here. I don't think it was there. Although I saw it, I described it, the dog saw it. He said, but I just don't think it was there. And I kept asking him, what does he mean by that? He said, it was like a hallucination, but he said, I can't say that because the dog saw it. And the dog saw it before it even came out onto the trail. When he walked up his normal walking thing, he got through the gate, and he was walking up. He got about 20 feet, 20 yards, something like that, past the gate. And the dog started bearing off to the right, chomping at the bit, trying to get away. And he thought, well, it's a skunk or it's a fox or something. Maybe a deer is in there. And then this thing just casually walked out, walked across, never looked at him, never paid any attention. And then the idiot gets his buddies together and tells me he's going to go back with guns. And I said, I wouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. I said, you don't know what you're dealing with. I said, so what if you shoot it and it doesn't stop it? Then what do you do? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're going to stand there and you're going to empty a clip and the thing keeps coming at you. What do? Throw it at him? So, I don't know. It's one of those things where I truly believe there's something out there. I truly believe that. What it is, I have no idea. What it looks like, I have an idea because everybody's told me the same thing. It's never changed. When I go back in history and look back, I mean, I can find sightings of similar creatures, but the one in Erie was exactly described as the ones we get now. And that's the one that keeps me hooked to it.
All right, Butch, I got a bunch of questions coming from the audience here, and I'm going to get to them if you don't mind. Michael is asking, Butch, do you think this bipedal canine could be a descendant of a dinosaur?
No, there was no. I don't even think there were any apes back in that time. There was no. Gigantopithecus was, what, 10,000 years ago? Dinosaurs go way back further than that.
All right. Next question, as my chat room jumped. 1 second. Now I got to find the darn thing. Sovereign is asking, Butch, do you know about Sasquatch being aquatic or possibly being related to mermaids or selkies?
No, I've never heard that one. I know that there've been many reports around water, but they were either, trying to get fish or clams or, just standing in the water. But I've never heard anything like that. No.
All right. Let's go to one here. Aiden is asking, in Louisiana State, Sasquatch is believed by some to be a creature part ape or part gator. What's your thoughts?
I always thought they were ape. I mean, that's the way they were described in that part of the country. Swamp creatures. I mean, they were always described as very large, ape-like looking creatures. I don't remember or recall any where they were reptilian or anything like that.
All right. Cat Chaser is asking, I'm sure Bigfoot hunts in packs. Do you believe dogmen hunt in packs as well?
Never had two together at the same time. And I don't know that they'd be hunting, other than the fact that there are a couple reports where they've been seen feeding on roadkill on the side of the road.
Okay, we got 2.5 minutes to go before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Butch Witkowski at Strange Days continues right now. Nicole is asking, Butch, do you think there is any link with dogman descriptions and Anubis of the Egyptian lore?
I've heard that. I don't know how far that ever went. I know that one gentleman was kind of claiming that it was the current dogmen were throwbacks to Anubis, but I'd never heard much about that anyway.
Do you think we're reaching when we go back to Egyptian type gods?
Sure. I mean, they look how far they go back with aliens, and Bigfoot were originally Neanderthals, or it's a reach. I mean, some researchers will go so far, and they, whether they like it or not, they come to a dead end in the research, and then they really go back. The next thing you know, they're talking about Egyptians and Syrians and Greek gods and everything else.
All right, I think we got time for one more question here. So we got about 90 seconds left. Greg is asking, can the bipedal canine run over gravel without making a sound?
I'm going to say no to that, only because when two park rangers were walking along a trail and they could hear they were being followed by heavy footsteps, and at first they thought it might have been a bear, then they thought, oh, maybe it was a deer, but no, it's not what it turned out to be, because when they got to their point and turned around and came back, it was on the right side of them again, and they went a little further and they stopped and turned around. There it stood right in the middle of the trail.
Incredible. Okay, let's sneak in one more from Crow Creek. We got 45 seconds. Butch, what's your thoughts on the dogman hanging out with Sasquatch?
There are no reports like that. I mean, I've seen reports, and I think it was just researchers kind of stretching a little bit, where they said that somebody witnessed a dogman fighting a Bigfoot, a dog man fighting a mountain lion, and a Bigfoot came and saved it. And I guess you can make that story go anywhere you want to.
I guess you can, my friend. And on that note, we're going to continue with audience questions when we come back, as this is our first time doing this show. not only broadcasting on terrestrial radio as well as digitally, but we've added Twitch, we've added Periscope, and a new look on YouTube. Spaced Out Radio with Butch Witkowski continues right after this, so sit tight. More of your questions coming up. All right, buddy, we're clear.
Okay.
Yep. Hello, Daniel Adams. Hello, Beef Stew. And by the way, this is that time of night where I'm going to pull out the old winter blend here from Mighty Moose Beard Oil. Now, I know my beard isn't that thick, not like it was a month ago. But you know what? Gary the Dutchman, he owns MightyMooseBeard.com, and he makes this stuff all by himself in a little shed up in the mountains of Chilliwack, British Columbia. All natural, no chemicals, and you just put it in your hand. Oh, it smells good. Winter Blend is my favorite. You just kind of massage it into your beard like so. Your facial hair will start saying, I love it. And for the ladies, you can also put it in your hair. It moisturizes your hair. It's all healthy, smells great, helps create 0 split ends, and, well, it wouldn't be creating, helps protect from split ends, I should say. And, you know, Gary the Dutchman, you don't get a deal very often from a Dutchman. Trust me on that. And, you know, but Gary, if you use promo code SOR2019, he's going to give you a deal. He's going to give you $1 off, and until April 30th, $1 from every sale will go to promote Parkinson's disease research, which hits Gary the Dutchman's family very, very hard. So right now is the time to pick up some beard oil. Go to MightyMooseBeard.com. Use promo code SOR2019 and tell Gary the Dutchman you want your deal, Dutchman. And he'll be like, you're Dutch. And you're going to be like, no, you're Dutch. And you're going to be like, no, you're Dutch. And it's going to be a long argument, but a fun one. But in the end, you're going to win with some great beard oil. And remember, all prices are in Canadian dollars, so check it out today. Yeah, that's my buddy Gary. I love him. Love him. Who just showed up here? Gorgeous Marie is here. Hello, Gorgeous Marie. Let's see here. It's funny that we mentioned moose. I put a picture up on my Facebook today, or yesterday, of some moose droppings. People don't know that they look like chocolate-covered almonds. They do. These aren't ones you want to eat, though. Vinny tried. Didn't work for him. Hi, Thurston Howell III. Please let us know how Lovey is doing. How you doing, Butch?
That's crazy. I saw that picture.
Hey, gotta go from there. I'm loving this new setup, man. Take me a little bit to get used to it.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's good to have you on camera. This is our first time.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie, you and I both got faces for radio.
Yeah. You got a good point there.
Nicole is asking, is moose oil good for the Sasquatch leg hair, too? That's terrible, Nicole. Terrible. My goodness. The red line is cutting through the chat highlight spaced out radio. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, Kira. The red line is cutting through the chat line. The chat highlight. I don't know what that means. I apologize. Jeff Garvey, what's going on? All right. I'm going to ask all you guys here in a minute to start putting your questions back in the chat room. I apologize if I missed some. Make sure you put them in capital letters so that way I can easily see them. That would be great. Susan's apparently a fan of my younger looking beard. All right, guys, 14 seconds. Big thank you to everyone who's donated to the Super Chat tonight, and I can guarantee you it goes to help us out. Thank you to everybody who hit that subscribe button and all our veterans listening in. Here we go, guys. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Really appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Butch Witkowski is back for Strange Days here on the mighty SOR. He comes at near the end of each month to talk about everything from Dogman to UFOs and every ghost in between. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good to have you. Let's see here. Moving on, let's get to some questions here. Jeff is asking, do you know anything about the sighting in Doylestown?
Oh, there have been a number of those. Which particular one?
I don't know. I've never heard of it. Fill me in.
Well, there are a lot of UFO sightings in that area. Matter of fact, in that whole county. I wouldn't know which one he's talking about.
Well, when you are there doing that, looking at this Doylestown, explain to us what goes on there. What's happening? Well,
there was a flap of sightings back in 2009, I believe it was, and Doylestown, Philadelphia, that whole area was just there were like, I forget how many hundreds of reports, and I just don't know which one he's talking about, but there were several in the Doylestown area. There were several. There were some around the Philadelphia airport off I-95. There were some in South Philadelphia. Matter of fact, I think the very first ones came out of South Philadelphia, and then it just went crazy after that. I mean, they were just coming in by the hundreds.
Ever figure out what it was?
They sent MUFON sent a team down, and when it was all done and said, they kind of figured that, yeah, there might have been a couple sightings in different areas, but then until the news media got involved, everybody saw it. There were people in certain parts of Philadelphia that were saying they were seeing stuff at the Philadelphia airport, and there was absolutely no way they could do that. I mean, just no way. There was no line of sight for that. But yeah, there were a lot of sightings in that year, and then it just stopped. That was it. Done.
Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Joe wants to know if you eat breakfast for dinner.
Yeah, I've done that many times.
You sicko. What's wrong with you? You're better than that.
Gnome told me to do it.
Oh, speaking of gnome,
Oh,
I
here we go.
got a gnome from one of our listeners. The Michael Leger made this for me.
Cool.
Yeah. Incredible. With a microphone, the red hat, the SOR logo right there. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it. He gets to sit beside my Carl candles. All right, let's get to another one here. Let's see here. Justin. Oh, my chat room just jumped here. That's going to mess me up. Let's go to Greg here. Greg is asking, have you ever taken any reports or heard anything about Bigfoot fighting bears?
No. I've never had any reports of Bigfoot fighting anything. Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen one.
That would be a good brawl. Bear
Yeah.
versus Sasquatch.
Grizzlies are tough.
I don't know who. I'm still putting my money on Sasquatch. Who wins between Dogman and Sasquatch?
No idea. I would probably think the Squatch because the Squatch is much bigger, bulkier.
Did you just say
But
that?
Dogman's much smaller, but now bipedal, that'd be a little different maybe.
I can't believe you just said the S word.
The what?
Squatch. Oh, come on. Shame.
Bigfoot.
Thank you. All right. Bad, Butch. Bad. Jules is asking, have you ever heard any good Dogman vocalizations?
There's quite a few of them out there. Yeah. Now, again, how do you prove what it is? It's recorded. You know, they got it on recording. They can play it back. They can slow it down. They can do all kinds of things with it. But the number of vocal reports that have been recorded, you know, people have been trying to get the animal folks to tell us, you know, what's that howling, what's that screaming, and it just nobody has an answer. So they, as all things, they just chalk it under unknown. But there's some of them that send a chill right up your spine.
All right. Butch, do you think Sasquatch throws sticks for Dogman to fetch? Could you explain the wood knocking? Or could it explain the wood knocking? That's from Justin. These people are messed up, man.
Not a fan of wood knocking, and I have no idea. I know that I carry tennis balls in my pack. So if I'm attacked, I'm throwing a tennis ball and yelling "sit" while I run.
All right, let's get over to Aiden, who is asking, could it be possible that Dogman is a descendant of prehistoric dire wolves that evolved to walk and sooner than the saber-toothed tiger cats?
I'd have to ponder that one for a while. No, the feline, the saber-toothed cat was built totally different. Hips, front end, chest. No, I don't think so. I don't think that those two would mesh.
Daniel is asking, is there any underground community of mole people living beneath Pittsburgh?
You know, that story has been around probably longer than I've been alive.
Okay, you got to explain this to me because I've never heard this.
Well, as in all the old cities before they were built, a lot of stuff was put underground that we normally don't do today, where they would build like small underground railroads to take merchandise from one side of the city to the other, or to put stuff in storage, and you know, all kind of stuff they were used for. And Chicago has quite a number of them. New York has hundreds of miles of them. Now they're all closed down, but they were just little trains. Like they were either pushed, but that's all they were used for. It was just a way to move material. The post office used them for a long, long time. where, they would take mail from their main post office location and, take it to different locations where it would be picked up by post office workers and taken back to their shop. But somewhere along the line out in Pittsburgh, while these things were notably used pretty much every day, a worker who operated one of these trains said that he saw a mole on two legs, about 5 foot tall, running down along the tracks. And of course, he told this story in a bar. And from there, the story became legend that mole people live under Pittsburgh. And in California, under, I believe it's San Francisco, you have the reptilians. They all live down there. Whatever floats their boat. You know what I mean?
Mole people. We get a little bit of everything. Little bit of everything here.
Absolutely.
That's the first I've heard of it. All right. Trinitrodo-Lueno, I apologize, I totally butchered that, is asking, if those creatures, this is a Dogman, if those creatures do exist, there has to be a certain number of them so the species can survive. Why do you think there are no remains, bones, etc.?
Same thing with Sasquatch. In 50 years or 50-some years of research, no body was ever found. No bones or burial sites or anything like that, ever. No DNA, ever. So it depends on which side of the investigation group you fall under. Are they interdimensional? Are they for real? Do they bury their dead like we do? Do they, in some people have thrown this out there, do they eat their dead? So nobody knows because there's just no evidence. I mean, there's just no evidence. And that's what really makes it rough. Because there's so many stories, when people run out of information on what they think could happen, then they get into crazy stuff. Like there was one that was out in New Mexico for a long time. It kind of faded away. But this guy was chasing a Bigfoot that had wings. And every time he'd get close, it would just fly off. Yeah, kind of like a butterfly. And he was swearing and declaring that he was chasing this thing, took shots at it. He wounded it one time and it fell and it got back up and jumped and took off again. And so, I mean, there's, when people run out of research, they start to make up their own research as it goes. And they'll come up with everything. I mean, I've heard stories already that just...
Did I ever tell you the craziest one I heard about Ogopogo? Is that the reason why Ogopogo is never found is it has wings and flies from lake to lake in the Okanagan.
Wow.
Jeff is asking, Butch, do you know if there are any tactics used by Bigfoot hunters to lure Bigfoot in?
Oh, they've tried everything. They've tried throwing food all over the mountain. They've tried bear traps. They've tried snares. They've tried traps that were used in Vietnam where they put some spikes in the ground, then you cover it up and you step on it, and then they kind of trap there. I mean, they've tried everything. They've tried using infrared on drones. They've tried on blimps. Snares of all kinds, box traps where, you step on something and you're caught in a box and it takes you up into the air and hangs you there for a while. Everything's been tried. Everything.
What's the most successful?
Rat traps. Oh, the last one I heard was somebody, I guess they arrested him eventually, but some idiot put rat trap shotguns on a trail right outside of a state park, and that was in North Carolina, North or South Carolina, I'm not sure. But what this guy did was bought a bunch of old single shot shotguns, cut them all down, and wired them up as rat trap. So if somebody tripped the trigger, tripped the wire, the shotgun went off, and he had them on sides of the trail. Both sides of the trail were like 12 of them. And actually what set it off, which got the Game Commission involved, was a deer walked into it and got killed. And somebody saw the deer down and saw it was hit with gunfire, but they didn't see any hunters or anything. But these guns were concealed in the trees, wired to the trees, and they finally got the guy. But can you imagine some kids like walking up through there?
VPXM is asking, what year did you see your first unidentified craft?
1989.
Want to explain it?
Was living in Tucson, Arizona at the time. Had some gentlemen putting in saguaro cactus in the yard. Wife went in to get some cold drinks for everybody because it was very hot. And, I went to take a swig of my tea. And as I took a swig of my tea, I'm looking at everybody else is like staring up at the sky. And I looked in the same direction. And there was a craft hovering above a mountain, which was like 3 football fields in length, maybe 5, 6, 7 stories tall. Some really faded green lights along the side of it. It was definitely saucer shaped, but it was on an angle. So it kind of looked like a tube. But when it took off, it flattened itself out. And we watched it for at least a good minute or two. And not only did we see it in my yard, but my neighbor, the doctor, he saw it. And the guy across the street, another neighbor who was, he was head of all the federal prisons for the United States government in the Southwest. And we all saw what we saw. And I ran in and called everybody I could think of, Department of Public Safety, State Patrol, Tucson Police, media, all the media outlets, airports, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. I called everybody. Nobody saw it. Wow. It just hovered there. It was very quiet. There was no, like the watches didn't work or anything like that. No physical feelings. It just kind of raised itself up a little bit after a bit and just shot off west like a bullet. It was just a blur.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Decatus has a question here. I'm getting a little feedback again from you. And he is asking, what do you think of frequency and vibration? Can we be induced into seeing things?
Yes. Yeah, it's called, it's like an ultrasound. It's a sound that we can't hear, but it can affect us. Animals can hear it. And it's way low on the scale of sound in decibels. It's been said, and I guess there have been some studies, I've never read them, but I've heard about them, where there's been studies where people were affected by that sound that actually drove them, half bat crazy. And the most dominant animal that reacts to it is a tiger. A tiger will, I'm going to use the word purr, but at such a frequency, like it causes in a human being fear. Once that animal realizes it's fear, then they'll attack.
Stu Gerson is asking, Butch, have you actually seen a Bigfoot?
No. I'm sorry, no. I'd love to. That's why I'm going to come up and stay a couple weeks with Dave.
Yeah. If you ever get here.
He'll find one.
Mm-hmm. All right. Greg is asking, in your UFO sightings, did you see the structure of the craft or just the lights?
No, the whole structure. You see the whole craft, front to back. That's why the size of it just amazed me, because the mountain that it was above, hovering above, is huge. I mean, it's not a little mountain. I mean, it's a mountain. And this thing kind of dwarfed it. I mean, that's why I always say it was like, in my best guess estimation, it was about 3 football fields in length. And height-wise, about 6 or 7 stories.
Wow. That's
It was
massive.
huge. It was huge. And the thing that would always amaze me till this day, it was stone quiet. You didn't hear anything. Nothing. Not a whir, not a buzz, nothing. Even when it took off, you heard nothing. It just like raised up a little bit and gone.
Denise is asking, Butch, have you ever heard of a bear man or a cat man?
No, I haven't.
Well, you're boring.
Yeah,
All right.
I've heard of pig man. You got that down south, pig man.
I've heard of that too. Goat man, frog man.
Goat man, frog man, yeah. But I've never heard of those two.
Those goat men are weird looking. Weird looking.
Reminds me of my brother-in-law. Never mind.
Joey is asking, Butch, do you have any opinion on what happened at Rendlesham Forest back in 1989?
I believe everything that happened at Rendlesham Forest was just the way they said it happened.
Why is that?
You got evidence. I mean, not only is one guy taking notes and making copies of what's written on the side of the craft, but you have his commander walking around with a tape recorder and taping the whole deal. And when they say it was they've already proven that there was no way from that location that you could see the lights, from the ocean side. So it was, as far as I'm concerned, the whole story is true.
All right, let us move on here. I think we're good for questions right now from our audience. I know I probably missed some, but our chat room jumped on us. And so now I'm kind of blind here on what we're doing. But, what do you want to experience, Butch?
A face-to-face.
Oh,
yeah.
Nicole just popped up a question here. She is, and we'll get back to that in a second. She is asking, does lunar data, like the pink moon tonight, have anything to do with cryptid sightings, like Dogman?
And that seems like we've looked at that a number of times. Full moon, wolf moon, pink moon, hot moon, super moon. And on the East Coast, there doesn't seem to be a lot of reports that come in like that. But the Southwest and the Four Corners area of the country and the Northwest seem to have more weird things happening. A lot of it has to do, the way it was explained to me, a lot of it has to do with the moon and how it affects the ocean and weather and everything else. But in this area, no, we've just not really had that. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Now, getting back to your site, I mean, you want to have a face-to-face encounter. We got 90 seconds before we're going to take a break here at the top of the hour. So I'm curious with you, my friend, what do you want to see? Bigfoot, Dogman, face-to-face?
Either one. I don't mean I want to be like, rubbing noses, but I would like to actually maybe at the same time get them captured on. If I can't see them face to face, I want to capture them on thermal imaging, because you can't doctor thermal imaging. Thermal imaging is thermal imaging. That's it. But it would just be because the thermal imaging units that we have, the FLIR devices, we can not only take video, but we can take still pictures. So we always have one camera set up on video, and the other one is set up on still pictures. So that way, if somebody says, well, you doctored that one, well, how did I doctor this one? They both look alike. You know what I mean? One's still and one's video. And that's something you got to be real careful with when you're doing investigations. Whatever equipment you're using, you've got to stand by that equipment. So FLIR is FLIR. I mean, that's the way it is. Night vision is night vision. That's the way it is. And even our night vision, when I purchased those through ATN, I got the ones where I could video or take a picture, because, if these things are quote unquote interdimensional, they shouldn't show up on night vision, nor should they show up on thermal imaging, except their outline.
Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. I want to ask Butch more of your questions, and we're going to ask Butch about photographs as well, whatever else we could jam in. Then at the bottom of the hour, we have the News Wire and the Thought of the Day. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, buddy. We are just going to break here. I will be right back.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
All right. Let's see. Where is that comment here? I had to take that down. Andrew, thank you so much for that super chat, man. Really appreciate that. Thank you. And, want to say a big thank you to everybody. Let's give a shout out. Ed Clater, TH, Filth, Science Bob, Aiden, Catfish, VPXM, Dirt Road, Nicole, Robin, Sylvia, and James, Wendy, Magnolia, Jeff, Jules, Emily, Aiden again, Wagon Breath, Fast Hammy, Ed, Fapster, Kevin's Beard, and Andrew for the awesome super chats. Really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate your love and support of this show. Thank you so much for helping us out. And big thank you to everybody who's tuned on in, giving us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. And the new look, I'm digging it, man. I hope you guys are too, as we continue on here on Spaced Out Radio. We got 1 hour left, and I'm telling you, this is pretty exciting stuff here. Very exciting stuff. I'm liking the new look. It's good to have you on camera there, Butch.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. No problem whatsoever. All right. Thank you so much for that super chat, man. Really appreciate that, Rye. Thank you. All right. Got more questions coming from the audience. And let's see here. Thank you, Clam. Wow. People are amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. I don't know what the Twitch link or Addy is yet, because I just started it tonight, but I'll find out more about it tomorrow and or the next day. We got about 10 seconds here. Stay tuned as we got some more Butch Witkowski coming up here momentarily. Let's do this thing, everyone.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Thank you to everyone tuned on in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Idioglossia. Idioglossia is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Butch Witkowski and Strange Days. Butch joins us near the end of each month, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and I'll tell you, we get to some amazing questions from our audience as well. Butch, we're going to start right off with Kiki here, and we're going to ask, do you believe, Butch, the story of Valiant Thor, who came from Venus, worked together with the government?
No. I've read those books, and I've met the author, and I guess he lost me when he said that he hooked up with a Venusian and moved to Venus for a while.
Oh, come on. Valiant Thor. It's such a romantic story, man.
Yeah.
Greg is asking, did you feel like the UFOs you saw were watching you during your sighting?
There's no way I could tell that. Maybe not. I don't know. There's no way I could even talk to them. There's no way I could even come up with that one.
How did you feel when you saw that mothership?
even though we got to watch it for a bit, and everybody saw it, it was not just me; it was everybody. It was kind of like half disbelief and half thinking what my wife might have put in the iced tea. But it was, you didn't take your eyes off it. I mean, you were, once you saw it, you were glued to it. I mean, it just, you looked at every little thing. And the color was strange. It was like a burnt copper, like if you see the bottom of a copper pan.
It's way too big to be human, eh?
Yeah, way too big.
Katie is asking about Mothman. Is there anything new?
The sightings continue. They're just there. The last one I saw was maybe a month or so ago in the same area up by the dynamite plant. But other than that, I guess they continue.
Now, the Mothman that has been seen around the Illinois area and into Indiana, how much different is that one from the Point Pleasant sightings in West Virginia?
They're pretty similar. The stories are similar. The description's similar. Now, is that something that they're actually seeing, or is it something that they're taking from what they've heard and putting it into their own side? It's hard to tell, but they're very similar.
What's the biggest differences?
I think the wings. Some say they're, well, a couple say that they're feathered, which they've never been described like that. And the others say that they are velvety looking, it's very smooth like skin. I think that's the only difference.
Weird. Just weird, my friend. Brian is asking, do you believe that Werner von Braun was referring to aliens when he said, regarding the moon landing, we had help, and pointed towards the sky with a wink?
No, I don't think he was kidding. There was just too much accomplished in too short of a time for them not to have any help. You know, it was what it was. I mean, they went from the V1 to the V2 to the America bomber, which would have worked had they built it.
Emily is asking, Butch, can you finish the story about what you were going to say regarding Robert Bigelow calling you up?
Oh, well, we had received this photograph of a triangle. I told you all about that. We debunked it, and we found out what it was. It was actually a Cessna 172. I mean, we could make out the landing gear. I could read the tail number, the whole 9 yards. And evidently the person that had filed it with us also filed it with Bob Bigelow. And I got this call on a Saturday morning. The guy introduced himself as Bob Bigelow, and I thought to myself, yeah, right, what are you selling? And it turned out that he turned me over to one of his investigators who introduced himself, went all through the report, and he said, I understand that you did it also. Have you filed your final report with MUFON? And I says, no, as a matter of fact, I was going to do that this afternoon, but I said, what would you like to know? And he said, what did you find out? And I told him what we did and how we did it and what it turned out to be. And he said, we've received quite a number of reports from this individual, and we just wanted to know if they were for real or if this person was, making it up. And I said, well, at this point, they made this one up, that's for sure. So you can take it from there. And he thanked me, and that was it.
What's the biggest mistake that people make when photographing something strange?
Using their flash at night. That's just a no-no. I mean, you can get flashes off of everything. Flashes are a lot more powerful than people think. I mean, you could be shooting up in the sky and there's a telephone pole in the way and there might be a nut or a bolt or something sticking out and it'll flash back on you. And all of a sudden you got a UFO. Never use a flash, ever. Indoors, same way. If you're on a paranormal case, don't ever use it. Flashes don't mean anything. Now, if you're videographing with a thermal camera or a multispectral camera, you don't need that. I mean, it's going to show everything. But outside at night, you're better just taking the shot. When you're shooting for UFOs, make sure your camera's set for infinity and take the shot.
One of the things that I find interesting about photographs is everybody wants to edit their own photos. They want to zoom on in to the point where everything becomes blurry and pixelated. They want to use different types of coloring to try and, analyze the photographs. And we never seem to see the original anymore because everybody wants to play Photoshopper. How dangerous is this for people who have something really cool in order to, quickly disparage what they may or may not have caught?
Well, with Photoshop, you can take a photograph of the street you live on. No problem. And take it back, put it in Photoshop, and you can take a saucer from any picture on the internet you want and superimpose it into your picture. And it'll look good. It will look good. But when you start to take it apart and you start to pixelize it and expand it and make it bigger and, maybe blow it up 300, 400, 500%, when you see the pixels start to separate around that saucer, it wasn't there. Because if that was the case, if it was there, all the pixels on the house or the road would be different from the craft. Because they were not put in at the same time. It wasn't a photograph at the same time. So you took a photograph and you added a photograph. And it shows it very clearly. I mean, it's really easy to see. Very easy.
So for you as an investigator, you just want to see the original. You don't want to see anything that's been doctored or photoshopped.
No, I want to see a clean picture.
And the importance is why?
The pixelization and what happens when you blow it up. Because you got to remember, most people take a picture, it's just a tiny little speck, on the screen. And then when you start blowing it up, then you see the wings and you see the tail section. It's an airplane. But that's what a lot of people don't do, because if you wanted to doctor that airplane, you would have to change the pixelation around the airplane. And to my knowledge, there's no way of doing that without it being seen. You know what I mean? It's not something you can hide. People have tried putting clouds around things, or photographing something over a mountain and kind of like moving the mountain up higher to change the size of the craft. But it doesn't work, because once somebody blows it up and they start checking the pixels, I mean, you can't hide those. I mean, they are what they are. I mean, that's what the photograph is made of, pixels. So when you have a photograph of having say a saucer and up in the sky, and say below there's a city or something below it, and you blow it up 300, 400, 500%, whatever you're blowing it up to, and you start zeroing in on a certain area, the pixels on the aircraft should be the same as the pixels on the ground. If the pixels on the ground are kind of uniform, but the pictures of the craft are now all kind of zigzaggy, or they're not put together square, they might be off by that much, or they're tilted or something. It's a doctored photograph.
Okay. So when people are out in the forest or maybe on a ghost tour or trying to photograph a UFO in the sky, what's your advice to them on how to do it?
Well, like I said, no flash. Set the camera for infinity. Try to use a camera. A phone The phones don't cut it. I mean, they take a nice picture if you're photographing your dog or your wife or a picnic or, you know, anything. But they're not made for that. They're not made to shoot to infinity. You know, after a while, they just distort, and then you have nothing. So digital cameras are inexpensive. Canon Sure Shot is a very inexpensive camera that has a very good lens on it. You know, I was going to, if somebody was just going to start doing that, that's the camera I'd tell them to get. I mean, if they want to go nuts, they can buy a Nikon or a Canon or anything like that. I mean, we have them all, but, you know, we have a little Panasonic 2/3 camera that I carry in my pouch, in my backpack. And even that has a very good lens on it, so I can shoot to infinity. So if I take a shot of something, it is what it is. And I can go back and pixelize it and everything stays the same. So that's the mark of a good camera. If you can take a picture of something, I don't care if it's your dog, your wife, your cat, whatever, and you put it on in the program that usually comes with the camera, and you blow it up, nothing should change. I mean, it's going to distort. It's going to, you know, get fuzzy and get weird looking, but nothing changes. You know what I mean? There's no like half the head is missing or the arms aren't right or the background is different. Discombobulated. It's out of focus. If it's nice and clear and you can picture everything, even when you're blowing it up, you know, it's going to just, like I said, it's going to distort, but everything stays the same. It doesn't change. That's a mark of a good camera.
What about using old school cameras with film?
I have 2 of those in the truck because I use them mostly for evidence because you can't mess around with a negative. And I shoot one camera set with color. That's a Nikon, Nikon Matte, and the other Nikon Matte is set with black and white. So I actually what I'm actually doing is I'm backing up my digital photographs. Because digital photographs, first thing somebody's going to say is, oh, you doctored that. Well, here's the same shot, but it was taken with black and white, or here's the same shot and was taken with color film. Can't mess with those. Just like you can't mess with thermal imaging. Can't. Doesn't happen. And years ago, a lot of researchers for evidence carried Polaroids because you couldn't do anything with those either. They were what they were. What you took a shot of is what you got. And
yeah, but Polaroids, when they were developed, were absolutely horrid.
Oh yeah, but that's what they had back then. I mean, they didn't have anything else. Nobody could afford a Nikon back then. The Nikons were in the $1,000 range, you know, a couple $1,000 range back in the early 60s. And that was just the camera. That was just the body. That wasn't the lens. You know, the one that I really went nuts on that I just, you know, you get these things in your head, you just have to have that. That just has to be. And it was, I bought a Nikon film camera, Nikon Matte. It was an older camera, but it was brand new. It was never used. I think I paid like $800 for the camera. And then when I bought the lens that I wanted, the lens was like $3,000, but it takes a hell of a picture.
No kidding. I got a question from Jeff coming in. He is asking, Butch, have you heard any reports about Bigfoot making vocal sounds or responding to vocal calls from Bigfoot hunters?
Yes. Yeah, there's quite a number of those on the internet. You can go on YouTube and pull them right up, where guys have gone out and taken vocalizations from, I'm going to say, British Columbia, or vocalizations from Washington State or Oregon, and then played them back east, you know, in the mountains back east, or Michigan area or something like that, and they get a response. And that's really weird. So that's telling me that whatever's living out there is understood by something living out here. So what does that mean? Is it a standard that is set in them that they can recognize another Bigfoot from another area? Possible.
Well, you only have to look at the Sierra sounds from Ronald Moorhead.
Oh, yeah.
And I still think that's the most impressive piece of audio that we have out there. And if people want to check it on out, just Google Ronald Moorhead Sierra Sounds on YouTube, and it'll come right up, and it's impressive. It is very, very impressive in regards to that. So I find that very intriguing, for sure. You know, we only got about 4.5 minutes left tonight. Another show that has flown on by. You know, we always talk about what people should do or how they can get a little bit better if they want to do some amateur sleuthing around the forest or in the sky above. What should they do if they get their evidence, Butch?
Well, if they have somebody that is in the area that will do it for them, like they have a lab that'll, basically help them out. Usually colleges will do it for free. If they have a problem with film or evidence, hair, dirt, scat, urine, or some stain or something like that, and they can't find anybody, they can send it to us. We'll take care of it. We'll get it sent to a lab, and the lab that works with us is a college lab, and they don't charge me a dime. That's the best. If they can get somebody in the area to do it, that's great. If they can't, send it to us. We'll take care of it, and we'll send it back with results.
And for you, Butch, what do you look to see as we start to really dig into spring here? The weather's warming up. All right, people are spending more outside. You're going to be on the road a little bit here. What's your plans?
We're going to hit the road soon, very soon. Everything's been packed into the trucks, so they're ready to roll. Everything's charged up, ready to rock. So, like I said, I was going to some caving area up north, but now with these reports that I just got, I want to work on those first, and then I'll head up north. But, the area I'm talking about, from where I live now to that area, to me is like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. The area up north is like 4 hours. Wow. I mean, for people who don't know your team, who do you have on your team? Right now, the Go team is 2 police officers, 1 longtime Squatch Bigfoot researcher, and then I have a couple standbys. One guy works for the state as a game warden, and the other gentleman is a lawyer. Who knew? A lawyer? What? Just in case you get attacked, he's gonna throw. I'm gonna sue somebody. Oh yeah, I'm gonna sue somebody. Somebody's gonna pay. Hey, somebody always has to pay, my friend. What are you going to do with your website now that it's been down by hackers? I'm going to start a new one. We started working on that already. So we'll see where it goes from there. I don't know if it'll be as extensive as the last one, but right now everything is on the blog. So if anybody wants to read the stuff that's on the blog, it's just they go to my Facebook page. You can see a link to the blog. Just go under Butch Witkowski. There's a link there. UFO Research Center of Pennsylvania blog. Click on that, takes you right to the blog. And that's where I've been putting stuff now till we get the other one up and running. Well, my friend, we've got like 35 seconds. Let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. I just did. Well, I mean, like, can they call you? I know. Oh, yeah, sure. My email address is butch218@djazz, DEJAZZD.com. And if they need, just send me an email, give me a number to call you, and I'll call you right back. I check that all the time. As a matter of fact, I have one computer set up just to take email.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Butch, my friend, we will talk to you next month. It's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. Always appreciate you coming here, my friend.
I'll wear my wig next time.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Butch Witkowski and Strange Days, UFOcop.com. That website will be changing, though. Check them out on Facebook. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Good job, Butch. Good job.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, I like this format. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. This is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I had a blast with you, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll talk to you next month. Maybe before. Yes, if we can get anything good going on, and we'll go from there.
You got it, brother.
All right, my friend. You take care, okay?
You too.
Bye-bye.
See you, Dave.
How awesome is that? Butch Witkowski. Now you get zoomed in on me, people. There's a little blurry in the background there. Maybe that's my glasses. I don't know. Maybe I should clean them. Maybe clean the camera? I don't know. All right. It's good stuff, that darn Butch Witkowski. He wasn't as fired up tonight as I thought he would be. But that's okay. I tried. Hello, Flash Erd. How are you? Bettin Spaghettins. Nice to see you here. Thank you, Nicole Sakic. Wendy Williams, the gorgeous Wendy Williams. Windex just might help, Dave. Thanks, Wendy. The Michael Leger, whose gnome is right there. Hold on. Trying to get it here. Right there. Good night, gorgeous Kira. You're right, Brad. You're totally right. You got a nice solid goatee there, Brad. Very nice solid goatee there. What do we got here? Few minutes. Oh, here's a big thing from Jules. I am pitiful. Decided I can't go get pizza because I have cats asleep on me. I'm turning into Corinth. Ah! Look how nice my teeth are. Look how crooked my smile is. See? This side goes up, down. This side gets stuck up. I hate that. Good night, the Michael Leger. Kiki, good morning to you. Go to sleep. I don't have Wookiee eyebrows. Do I know? Hey, gorgeous Stephanie Jackson, how are you? Do you know of any little people stories? Nah. I do have one. That's locally here. Gentleman that I know, he his mom's jewelry went missing, and they heard the pitter-patter of little feet upstairs. So I remember talking to him, and I said, "What have you been up to?" He goes, "I'm making a bunch of stuff, hats and everything." And they made a donation to the little people, and the little people returned the jewelry. Excuse me. Canada is not moving to martial law. Stop hanging out on brand new tube. Thanks, Betty Spaghetti. I'll touch it for you. Yes, they will, Flash. Hugely. Thank you to everyone in the Super Chat. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who tuned on in. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. And to all our new subscribers, really do appreciate that. It's all your support for this show has been amazing. Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you miss most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, the news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, sometimes the UFOs. The government could soon release evidence and reports about unidentified flying objects as soon as this June. Luis Elizondo, who ran the program, is now a shuttered initiative to study and explain UFOs, or the phenomena. The upcoming report, which has garnered a great deal of media attention, is expected to reveal what the military knows about unexplained craft spotted around its installations, and could help demystify a great deal of the bizarre sightings that have been reported. It's worth noting that Elizondo has promised updates on UFOs a couple times in recent years. Last July, for instance, he argued that the Pentagon's UAP task force no longer has to hide in the shadows and will have a new transparency. But there's reason to believe this report will actually arrive in some form, even if it's not a groundbreaking revelation of extraterrestrial life. Former President Donald Trump mandated that the U.S. intelligence agencies had to release what they know about UAPs and UFOs by the summer. I think the government has acknowledged the reality of UAP, Elizondo said. I think they all want answers, and I think they are all willing to ask the hard questions. Well, we'll see. The time keeps ticking. Yeah, Elon Musk's SpaceX may not have plans to send humans to Mars anytime soon, but when it does, those on board may want to take caution. The tech mogul says, and warned in a recent interview, that a bunch of people probably will die in the beginning stages of Mars exploration as his company works out the kinks of traveling to the Red Planet. Going to Mars reads like the ad book for explorer Ernest Shackleton's Going to the Antarctic, Musk said. And then he goes, it's dangerous, it's uncomfortable, it's a journey. You might not come back alive, but it's a glorious adventure, and it will be an amazing experience. He continued, you might die, and you probably won't have good food and all of these things. It's an arduous and dangerous journey where you may not come back alive, but it's a glorious adventure. Sounds appealing. Mars is the place. That's the ad. That's the ad for Mars. Yes. When asked about plenty of people were still sending applications to take part in the journey, Musk again remarked that explorers should be careful what they wish for. I mean, honestly, a bunch of people probably will die in the beginning, he said. It's a tough sledding over there, you know. We don't want to make anyone go, so volunteers only. Musk, who was recently tapped to host Saturday Night Live, initially hoped that SpaceX would be able to send people to Mars by 2024, but later revised that goal for a later date. NASA's Ingenuity helicopter, speaking of Mars, sent back its first color images from Mars showing a unique perspective of the planet's barren surface from above the ground. The photographs were taken as Ingenuity, a 4-pound helicopter that became first powered aircraft to fly on another planet earlier this month, took its second flight on Thursday. According to NASA, the trip was relatively short, only lasting 51.9 seconds, but in that time, Ingenuity marked several new milestones, such as a higher maximum altitude, increased flight duration, and improved sideways movement. So far, the engineering telemetry we have received and analyzed tell us that the flight met expectations and our prior computer modeling has been accurate, Bob Ballaram said from NASA. We have 2 flights of Mars under our belts, which means there is still a lot to learn during this month of Ingenuity, he added. During the second flight, the tiny aircraft reached an altitude of 16 feet and snapped color pictures of the planet's surface. The helicopter came to a stop, hovered in place, and made turns to point its camera in different directions, Harvard Grip, Ingenuity's chief pilot, said. Then it headed back to the center of the airfield to land. It sounds simple, but there are many unknowns regarding how to fly a helicopter on Mars. That's why we're here, to make those unknowns known, he continues. The series of photographs show the planet's rocky reddish-orange surface. Ingenuity's shadow is visible at the bottom of one of the images, but the historic moment was followed up by more feats just a few days later. On Sunday, NASA took Ingenuity out for its third flight, once again pushing the limits of the machine. While Ingenuity once again climbed to an elevation of 16 feet, this time NASA took the helicopter flying downrange for 164 feet, which is more than the length of half a football field. It also reached a top speed of 6.6 feet per second. Today's flight was what we planned for, and yet nothing was short of amazing, Dave Lavery of NASA said. With this flight, we are demonstrating critical capabilities that will enable the addition of an aerial dimension to future Mars missions. I love that. Here's a good one. 15 people emerged from a cave in France on Saturday after spending 40 days living in its depths without sunlight, clocks, or contact with the outside world. The volunteers were part of an experiment called Deep Time, which was designed to probe the human brain's conception of time in an environment without chronological bearings and to study the group's overall adaptation to life in isolation. In the absence of natural cues to regulate circadian sleep patterns, many of the participants lost their sense of time as the weeks rolled by in the cave. An enormous and well-explored network of subterranean passages in southwest France that served as the site of the experiment. The deep timers were alerted that the experiment was coming to an end on Friday so that they could prepare for their exit the following day. Led by project director Christian Clot, an explorer and founder of a non-profit research group called the Human Adaptation Institute, the participants were greeted with applause from the team members when they re-emerged into the sunlight at 10:30 a.m. local time, April 24th. And here we are. We just left after 40 days, said Clot. For us, it was a real surprise. In our heads, we had walked into the cave 30 days ago. The experiment's volunteers ranged from age 27 to 50 and included 7 women 8 men, including Klott. The team had to pass mental and physical evaluations before they were selected for the Deep Time project, and each person had assigned tasks during the 40-day period, which began on March 14th. Food and equipment were supplied for the participants, but their water was harvested on site from the cave. Some volunteers had professional experience that was relevant for a cave expedition, including medical specialists and outdoor exploration experts, but the group also included a jeweler, a business intelligence analyst, a public affairs specialist for a defense industry company. The idea behind the selection of the participants, according to the project website, was to produce a varied group that corresponded daily life. Though the deep timers were not in contact with the outside world, their sleep patterns, social behavior, and vitals were monitored by a team of researchers through sensors used for the duration of the experiment. The volunteers even ingested tiny thermometers inside capsules that transmitted body temperatures inside the digestive system until they were excreted. The medical tests continued even after their exit, as participants had MRIs conducted in Paris less than 24 hours after leaving the cave. According to some of the posts, the broad conclusions of all these observations will take time to assess. Yeah, like we need another shark species. When paleontologists from New Mexico uncovered the fossil of a 6.7-foot long shark in 2013, they called it Godzilla. The nickname fit the prehistoric beast's unusual features, including 12 rows of short, squat teeth and 2 long reptilian spines on its back. Now, after 7 years of research to catalog its various characteristics, the scientists have determined that the fossil represents a new species. Its official name is Dracopristis hoffmannarum. Dracopristis hoffmannarum, the museum announced in a statement. The first part of the name means dragon shark in Latin, and the latter, hoffmannarum, is a tribute to the Hoffman family that owns the quarry where the fossil was discovered. It's the biggest shark that's ever been found in New Mexico for the geologic time, said Spencer Lucas, the curator of paleontology at the museum, to Rick Nathanson at the Albuquerque Journal, and certainly the most important fossil that's ever been found in New Mexico. Ancient shark specialist John Paul Hodnett, now program coordinator for the Maryland National Capital's Parks and Planning Commission, Dinosaur Park, found the first piece of the dragon shark fossil while sifting through limestone fragments in a quarry in the Manzano Mountains of central New Mexico. The first fragment looked like a piece of limb bone, which struck Hodnett as unusual because although the region is well known for fossils of plants and animals from the Pennsylvanian period, they are also very large. Interesting. That's all we need. This thing's still quite smaller than Megalodon. Nonetheless, probably eat humans if it was alive today. Oh, bad beavers. You know, the beaver is Canada's national animal. Not the moose. The beaver. But sometimes it can be a real pain in the butt. A Canadian telecommunications company said about 900 customers here in British Columbia lost internet service when beavers chewed through their fiber optic cable. Now, TELUS said customers in Tumbler Ridge, way north of where we are here, lost service at 4 a.m. Saturday morning, and repair crews discovered beavers had chewed through an important fiber cable at multiple points. Liz Sauvé, spokesperson for TELUS, said that it was very bizarre and uniquely Canadian in the turn of events. Our team located a nearby dam, and it appears the beavers dug underground alongside the creek to reach our cable, which is buried about 3 feet underground and protected by a 4.5-inch thick conduit. The beavers first chewed through the conduit before chewing through the cable in multiple locations. Repair crews captured photos showing pieces of TELUS equipment being used by the beavers to build their dams. The company said the internet service to Tumbler Ridge was restored fully by Sunday afternoon. Bad beavers. Bad. As if he isn't a star already with 4 Super Bowl rings under his belt, NFL star Rob Gronkowski returned to his alma mater, the University of Arizona, to break a world record by catching a football dropped from a helicopter 600 feet above the ground. Gronkowski, who is serving as honorary coach alongside former New England Patriots teammate Teddy Bruschi for the ASU Wildcats game Saturday, donned a jersey bearing his old university number 48 to make the Guinness World Record-breaking catch. Tampa Bay Buccaneers slotback, or in the U.S. we call it tight end, made the catch on the third attempt, celebrating his trademark Gronk spike afterwards. Every time you step on the field, you've got to raise that bar to another level, baby, Gronkowski was quoted as saying after the catch, and I just raised the bar to this level. Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Hundreds of people with the first name of Josh gathered in Nebraska with pool noodles for a battle royal that began as a joke on social media. 22-year-old Josh Swain, an Arizona college student, said he was bored during the pandemic in April 2020. So as a joke, he sent a message to a few people who shared his name and challenged them to a duel in 1 year's time in a Nebraska park. Swain said the joke soon turned to a real plan, and Saturday, hundreds of people named Josh gathered with pool noodles in Lincoln's Air Park to battle it out. The event began with Swain and another Josh Swain, who hails from Omaha, playing rock, paper, scissors for the rights to their name. The Arizona student won the initial contest, and the event then turned into a pool noodle melee. A 4-year-old boy named Joshua Vincent Jr. was declared the winner of the pool noodle battle and was presented with a Burger King crown and hoisted into the air to a round of cheers from all the Joshes there. The Joshes collected 300 pounds of food for the Food Bank of Lincoln and raised more than $8,000 for the Children's Hospital and Medical Center Foundation in Omaha. Great move, Joshes. Great move. Auction company Sotheby's announced that Kanye West's Nike Air Yeezys 1 prototype shoes have sold for a record-breaking $1.8 million through a private sale to sneaker investing platform Rares. The sale has made the Nike Air Yeezy 1 prototypes the most valuable sneakers ever and marks the first recorded sneaker sale for more than $1 million. West wore the shoes at the 50th Annual Grammy Awards in 2008, where he took the stage to perform Hey Mama and Stronger. The pair were made exclusively for West and signaled the start of a partnership between the rapper and the shoe brand. West later took the Yeezy brand to Adidas in 2013 and continues to sell shoes through that company. We are thrilled with the result, which nearly tripled the highest price on record. The sale speaks volumes of Kanye's legacy as one of the most influential clothing and sneaker designers of our time, and of the Yeezy franchise he has built, which has become an industry titan. Furthermore, it builds on the recent growth in Sotheby's sneakers, which is now offered across our Buy Now marketplace, auction, and private sales, Bram Walker said. Kim Kardashian, by the way, filed for divorce from West in February after close to 7 years of marriage. What that has to do with the story, I really don't know, but it's in there. And finally tonight, this is a good one. Here we go. A dog named Lucia needed rescuing last week after injuring her paw while hiking, leaving her unable to walk. On the third day of a hiking trip in the Sesame Creek Trail in California's Los Padres National Forest, the 8-year-old Rottweiler injured her paw, and at the time, the dog and her owner were over 4 miles away from the nearest trailhead, could not make it back to the car. Lucia's owner, Kinga, says that while they were hiking back to the car, the dog stepped on a rock, cut her foot. Lucia initially tried to carry on, but just couldn't do it. Eventually, they stopped walking, and the duo had to call it the day up in the mountains. But nonetheless, they were rescued, the dog carried out, and the paw is going to be okay, and everyone is safe. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Who wins in a brawl between Dogman and Bigfoot? 13 ballads. Dogman took his training from the cryptid known as Basilisk. Basilisk can't even use his brute strength in the fight, so he learned tricks such as judo and karate. So if Dogman remembers his lessons, he could beat the big hairy brute he encounters in the alley. Greg. Dogman pins Bigfoot, but Carl, the special referee, gets distracted seeing Dave, allowing Bigfoot to get Dogman in the camel clutch for the win by submission. Damn rights, Greg. Damn rights. Eric, Bigfoot by 20. Joey, I think Dogman would have the speed and better damage than Bigfoot. Anthony, open the top of the cage or hell in a cell. Absolutely, Anthony. Valid question, he says, though. I would assume it would be easier for a Bigfoot to climb the cage, having opposable thumbs and all. Plus, reports of Dogman describe sharp claws. Gotta book it to believe it. Absolutely. Dirty Filth. It's a tough fight. Dogman is quick and accurate with his attacks, but eventually Sasquatch takes the win by snapping Dogman in half over his knee. Oh yeah, the old backbreaker didn't go well. Nick, Sasquatch would definitely chokeslam Dogman. I'd be quick over it, but it was Sasquatch and a bipedal. It would be totally different. Story dragged out with a real ruckus, and what really is with a bipedal, clawing and biting, causing Sasquatch to retreat from the ring. No way Sasquatch gives up like that. Edie, Bigfoot, large, powerful, opposable thumbs. Dogman, not so large, stealth, not intelligent, but crazy, unpredictable. It would be a fight for sure. However, I feel Bigfoot would win in the end because of their intelligence, ability to think, and plan along with grip and strength. Gabe is pulling for Bigfoot. He is so strong he would beat the snot out of Dogman. Tom, I'd go with Bigfoot, size and powerful grip. There was a case in Texas where a huge Dogman was found dead. The opinion was Bigfoot did it. Catherine, neither. They'd be too embarrassed at first not noticing each other while peeing next to each other in the forest. Kevin, Colonel Steve Austin would win. Marty, there is no brawl as they both understand the concept of oneness. Jimmy, I'm going grilled cheese sandwich. Oh wait, wrong movie. Captain Shirk gets the final word here. I believe Bigfoot hands down wins this. Dogman is all scary bark and no bite. Bigfoot can squish him like a bug and live to tell the tale. Oh, you know when Captain Shirk speaks, it is over. Mic drop. She, even though she's trying to find her glasses right now, the conversation is done. Thank you for everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave. We'll do it all again tomorrow on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Thank you so much to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire, and you can find that on our website. And of course, to Butch Witkowski and Strange Days, we'll talk to Butch at the end of next month. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thanks to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, where Derek and the Snarkettes are singing right after. This show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.